Every summer, Hollywood releases a whole batch of films targeted at families, and it makes sense, as that's the time when children are off from school and have more time to go to the movies. However, I don't think any summer has topped 2002 in terms of the record number of family films released in that period, with at least one a week starting on June 14th and concluding on August 7th. Needless to say, it was a bloodbath, and it made for an interesting battle at the box office, with a fair share of original movies, sequels, and a few television show adaptations aiming to grab eyeballs of all ages. Let's take this trip down memory lane, shall we? While most studios braved those crowded waters, DreamWorks did try and get a head start by having Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron open on May 24th. It was a noble attempt at counter-programming against the blockbuster juggernauts that were Spider-Man and Star Wars Episode 2 that month, for those children not interested in superheroes and Jedi. Yes, they do exist. Spirit did not take off though, whether it's because the horses did not talk, or maybe the subject matter did not capture the audience's attention, and it was sadly one of a few reasons why DreamWorks shut down their hand-drawn animation department. Like I said, the onslaught truly began on June 14th, with what was one of the most anticipated films that summer, and certainly Warner Brothers' biggest bet, Scooby-Doo. The teaser even premiered in front of the first Harry Potter movie. Scooby-Doo ended up getting the second highest opening weekend in June at that time, though it proved to be incredibly front-loaded. Maybe putting Scrappy-Doo in the movie was not the best idea, but the film proved successful nonetheless. Next week, Disney released Lilo and Stitch, fueled by a brilliant marketing campaign with Experiment 626 inserted into other Disney movies. Stitch actually managed to make only $400,000 less than the #1 movie that weekend, Minority Report. Lilo and Stitch doing so well against the Steven Spielberg-Tom Cruise collaboration and Scooby-Doo's second weekend is why I've never bought into the theory that competing against Avatar and Alvin and the Chipmunks 2 hurt The Princess and the Frog's box office. On June 28th, Paramount made the curious decision of releasing a Hey Arnold television special in theaters. Not the Hey Arnold Jungle movie like Craig Bartlett intended. Paramount Nickelodeon seriously decided Hey Arnold the movie should be an extended episode where he tries to save the neighborhood, and not the adventure story where he goes on a perilous journey through the jungle. What does it say when the eventual TV movie finally completed and released 15 years later is more cinematic? The numbers were pretty meager for Hey Arnold the movie at only $15 million worldwide. However, because it was just a television special slapped onto the big screen, the studio still made a tidy profit on it. For the July 4th weekend, two family movies competed head-to-head. One was Warner Brothers' big screen movie based on the Powerpuff Girls, and the other was Fox's comedy Like Mike, about an orphan who gets magical basketball powers from Michael Jordan's childhood sneakers. I'm not making that second one up. That was a real thing. Neither film was particularly big though. The Powerpuff Girls movie did about the same numbers as Hey Arnold the movie, but was actually made for cinemas and hence had almost 4 times the budget. Like Mike did okay, but nothing substantial, relegating it to a lifetime of being paired up with Catch That Kid in bargain sets. The most curious entry in these summer family sweepstakes came from the Crocodile Hunter Collision Course. There was a time when Steve Irwin was an international superstar, and it made sense to make a movie based on his popular Animal Planet television series. The result, released by MGM, was actual documentary footage with scenes from a spy movie seemingly spliced in. It was odd and did not make a whole lot, disappearing very quickly from screens, but it was nothing more than a cheaply produced extension of the TV series anyway. Stuart Little 2 seemed like a surefire winner, a sequel to the successful first adaptation of E.B. White's book, with many of the same talent involved. Sony Pictures was actually the most successful studio that summer, but not because of Stuart. The sequel saw a substantial drop in attendance from the first movie, leading to it not recouping its $120 million budget. I'm not sure where the audience that made the 1999 film a hit disappeared off to, and director Rob Minkoff did keep the quality intact. It seemed people had sort of moved on from that mouse and his adorable red car. On July 26th came Michael Eisner's curious experiment of turning the Disney theme park attractions into theatrical motion pictures. And what did he choose to greenlight? The Country Bears, based on an attraction which closed in Disneyland not long after the movie had wrapped filming. That would prove to be an omen, as the film flopped badly, to the point Disney sent it direct to video in most foreign markets. Well, here's hoping that Pirates of the Caribbean movie works out much better. Entering August, Dana Carvey attempted to make a comeback with The Master of Disguise, which also happened to open a week after his buddy Mike Myers, Austin Powers, and Goldmember. Unlike Austin Powers, this was a family movie, and a pretty bad one at that. It only made $43 million, and Carvey since then has primarily focused on his stand-up. However, it only cost $16 million to make, which is actually quite small for a Happy Madison production. Blumhouse, they're not. So I guess Columbia Pictures got something out of Master of Disguise. The audience was not so lucky. Finally, Dimension Films capped off the summer's batch of family movies on August 7th with Spy Kids 2: The Island of Lost Dreams, which, thanks to Robert Rodriguez's speedy production process, was able to quickly capitalize on the success of the first movie from the previous year. While there was a small drop in attendance, Spy Kids 2 was still a go-to choice for children before the new school year started, and even held on well into the autumn season. Looking back at that crowded summer, I'd say the easy winners of the box office among the mass of family films were Lilo and Stitch, Scooby-Doo, and Spy Kids 2. Those are movies that succeeded thanks to name recognition and strong marketing that grabbed audiences' attention, as well as having a certain level of spectacle that made families willing to pay the ticket prices to see them. Analyzing the summer of 2002, I don't think the other films were affected by competition, but rather general disinterest in wanting to see them on the big screen. To conclude, which of the family films I mentioned from that summer did you see on their original release? I'm genuinely curious. Surprisingly, I only saw Lilo and Stitch and Hey Arnold the movie in theaters. I'm sure many of you will top that number. See you next time.